So I think last time we um kind of talked a little bit about motivation and inspiration.
Hmm.
Um, so I felt like a follow-up to that would be how do you recharge after you've put it all into a project, you're done with it, you're exhausted, at least creatively.
Right.
How do you then recharge? Because I believe, as creators, it is important to have a moment of non-production or
Hmm.
non-productivity, recharge somehow,
Yeah.
like your creative juices. Because I mean, I guess it could be you switch to a different project and that's how it does it. But I think it's good. I mean, even God took a break, we could
Man.
go back to that. But um, I think we need a moment of pause. So is it what do you do in those like moments? Like how do you find your rest, I guess?
Um, there's a band called Tennyson. It's a brother sister duo. They're super dope, make crazy music. But I don't know his name off the top, but the brother in the band, he they took a hiatus for like a little while and then they came back and he was just like, yo, like it's so important to go and live life.
Yeah.
Sometimes I know, especially for me and my music, it's like you get so bogged down in just like creating, mixing, recording, trying this new thing, learning about this gear, doing all these things, and you make the project. But like, what am I gonna write about if I don't go live?
One of my favorite bands broke up because of that. The Deer in the Headlights. Like like it was the song I think we walked out to one of their songs at our wedding. Our first dance with one of their songs. Just a incredible band. And I think they just started, I think on their website, it was like, we were touring so much and putting so much into the band that we were just missing out on life. And he's like, all of our songs come from living life. So if all we're doing is being in a van and driving around playing music, what we're not gaining anything new. But then the guy, main songwriter, eventually did another album with some of the other guys called Gentle Hits, and I want them to do more. It was an incredible album. But but they lived life for a
Yeah,
while, and took care of some of their life issues and wrote an amazing record from it.
yeah,
But you do need experiences and you can't just be doing your art.
yeah,
Like if a painter only stays in their studio, eventually, their crazy brain might run out of ideas.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I think that's just so important. I mean, even if it's like me and the wife have a movie night, I might be at the crib or we go on a hike or I go watch somebody else do their art, you know, or I come and talk to my neighbor,
Yeah.
and chill and smoke a cigar,
Smoke a cigar. Take a break.
take a break. Um, that's how I recharge. I mean, there'll be times where and sometimes it is creative, but it'll be explorative. Like I will force myself to not record anything. I'll sit there and play my synths or, just throw the drum machines on and do something crazy that's completely out of genre for me or whatever, and just create. And I don't record any of it on purpose. And if it comes back to me, then it's meant to be my song.
Right.
But I don't record any of it just so I can feel free to not be product driven. I'm not producing. I'm just creating.
Right.
Because I think it's important to understand like there's a difference between producing and creating,
Yeah.
you know. Um, so yeah, I might just go jam with the homie. I might pick up a different new instrument, might buy a new piece of gear, might just live. But yeah, usually hanging out with my wife. If I can afford it, go back home, see my family.
Yeah. Because you can do your day job there too, right?
Yeah,
That's
as long as I got my dude here. Yeah, I gotta have somebody here.
right. Someone's got to keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of the same way. When I'm burnt out, I feel like I watch a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Just lay on the couch with my wife and, you know, have a whiskey sometimes. Um, but as a photographer, I find music is kind of recharging for me.
Mm.
Because it's not my day in day out thing. But if I'm don't have any inspiration for music, it's probably reading or watching TV. 'Cause I'm a visual person, so TV is always good for my brain.
Yeah.
Um, and there's been times where it's been several months of we get into a TV series and you're like, wow, that was 4 months.
Right.
You're like, maybe I should pick up my guitar and see if I can still play.
Right. Yeah. Remind myself.
Yeah. I mean, I have the fortune that, my day job is a creative field. So, but even there, I get burnt out and I usually will kind of deep dive into YouTube on cigars or rocks or jewels and recharge that way
Yeah.
because it kind of gets my brain outside of what I'm working on and it kind of gives me a different perspective on it.
Yeah.
I even told like the one of the head HR guys, I'm like, I go down YouTube wormholes all the time at work, and he's like, well, you guys are creative, so I don't know. I can't keep track of what you do anyway.
Right.
I was like, well, that's just my recharging. He's like, all right, cool.
Right. As long as you're taking the pictures.
Yeah, he's like, as long as you guys produce. Because I think, just creatives, we are probably all slightly ADHD or, autistic or
Something.
something's not right.
Something's off.
So, I mean, some some of us have to like move a lot more than others and, they can't just sit there for a while, so they walk around a lot or we're constantly looking for other stimuli and which is probably why most artists are alcoholics or drug addicts.
I was thinking that. I wasn't gonna say it, but I was like, yeah, man, I spent a lot of my life looking for stimuli. That's what I'm gonna start calling it.
Stimuli.
Yeah, I was looking for stimuli.
Got some?
Yeah, man, you look for it, you'll find it.
Yeah.
Then we had to get to the source, the good stimuli.
Yeah, and I there's something to it where if you have if you're have if you're content, I guess that's the word I'm looking for. If you're content, you're not searching for something to fill a hole at that
Hmm.
point. You're looking at ways that now filled void can inspire you and other things.
Exactly.
But a cigar is nice.
A cigar
It's
is
good,
great.
great way to recharge.
Yeah. And a conversation. Conversation is always good. That's why you be seeing I walk all around and I'll be talking on the phone to all my friends back home and you know, random people and just talk about life. And sometimes I just walk around like I gotta get back in the habit. I used to just walk around the neighborhood and just like talk to God. Like
Yeah.
not about anything specific, but just be like, hey God, this is what's going on in my life. This is what I've been thinking about. What do you think about that? And so I've gotten so many lyrics like that, bro.
Yeah, I believe.
So many lyrics like that. Like, dang. So I do think it's important to recharge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're always like, who's this guy who just keeps walking back and forth in front of our
Right.
house? Like he walked that way and now he walked this way and then he's going back that way. Who is this guy?
Now, I used to be nervous when we first moved here because in our area, there's not a lot of people that look like me. And sometimes, if I don't have my hair braided, I got it in a ponytail right now. and I don't feel like picking out my fro, I probably could be mistaken for a vagrant. So I used to be scared. I'm like, ain't nobody called the folks. They see me enough, they gonna realize like, oh, he stay over here, like he cool.
Yeah, I mean, we saw you so often, so we're like, he obviously lives on the street.
Right.
Uh, yeah, that's funny. Part of recharging or an aspect of creating or whatever. I was wondering, do you journal at all?
You know what? When I was a kid, I did, and at some point, I stopped, and I think I need to again. My wife does, and she says it helps her immensely
Hmm.
to just process and figure out what's going on. But I think sometimes for me, like right, my background is in rap, but that's not where my career is going. I'm doing R&B now, and I'm singing. But sometimes I'll just sit there and like write on my phone like some rhymes
Yeah, yeah,
randomly, or I'll pull out a voice memo and just like talk, which I guess is kind of a form of journaling.
yeah.
Um,
It's dictation.
yeah. But how about yourself? You journal?
Well, I have journals. I find that I don't necessarily journal where I like write out everything. For me, it's I do a lot of lists or
List of what?
just like talking points
Oh, okay. Yeah.
or um I found that the thing I journaled the most was financial things. Like if I was looking at stocks or something, I would, write out almost like pages of numbers and stuff just because that's how I needed to wrap my head around it, I guess.
Mm,
Or like how I'm going to break up my paycheck to make sure we can turn the lights on or
right.
stuff like that. I think like I was good at math as a kid, but once you get to a level, you know, I needed to write it out.
Right.
And so I think I just see that better in written form. Um, I'm really trying to, I want to get into journaling. Jessica's started a prayer journal where she'll just write out her prayers and then leaves the back page for the answer so
Mm,
that she can go back and go, I remember praying for this and it happened. Or it
wow.
didn't happen, but this happened.
Mm,
Um,
that's good.
yeah, and I'm just like, man, I should probably be more intentional with what I use my journal for.
Mm.
I've written a couple like little stories for my boys because I don't do it as much, but usually we do like a bedtime story and they just want me to make it up.
Right.
It's usually about farting.
Hey, it's a
Well,
classic. It's gonna work
you
every time.
two boys and a grown man who thinks like a boy. It's perfect. Um, so one of the first things I wrote in this particular journal was a story.
Was there farting?
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure there
Right.
was. They may have killed a dinosaur by a fart or something.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Um, and I was like, when I started this journal, I called it my a life of creation journal, and I wanted to be start writing out more creative stuff.
Yeah.
Um, because I have another journal that's either church notes or stock stock tickers that I was looking at
Right.
that I couldn't afford. So, um, but I find the writing I enjoy the act of writing, which is probably why I have fountain pens and stuff.
Right.
That helped. I think having a pen that you enjoy actually helps.
How?
Well, the writing process is more fun
Hmm.
or funner
Right.
because you're like, look at this cool pen I get to write with. I actually bought Jessica a fountain pen for Christmas
Yeah.
and put in this really cool like purple ink, and the pen has like cherry blossoms on it, It's a cool pen.
That's lit, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can get them for super affordable. There's a brand you can get on Amazon. It's called like Jinhao or something. I
Hmm.
think it's Japanese or Chinese brand, probably Chinese, but they make awesome pens.
Yeah.
And they're like $10.
Hmm.
Like I got one that has like 18 karat gold plated tip. You know. I mean it's very little gold, but it was like $10. And I think like it's metal heavy and it's just I love writing with that thing.
Feels good.
Feels good.
Yeah.
And I think if you have I became an advocate for people to find a writing utensil that they love. My friend Charlie, who you've met,
Hmm.
he likes to use a typewriter because
Hmm.
there's that tactile feeling. It's, antique. It's not a medium that people use a lot, and he's like to me, it's just very satisfying. So
Mm.
he'll write out his thoughts on a typewriter. And he's like, I don't know, hardly ever go back to it, but he's like, but the writing of it, helps me process my thought.
Yeah.
And I think that's the importance of journaling.
Yeah. That even if you don't go back to it, it's still the process of it within itself helps the mind process the information and do things
Yeah.
and probably frees up some space. Because I know sometimes I'm just thinking, thinking,
Right.
thinking, thinking.
Like, are you a Harry Potter fan?
In school, I think I read the first two. And then once the movie started coming out, I stopped reading them. I was just like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna
You're
watch
like,
the movie.
why would I read it?
Right?
These
Yeah.
movies are great. I'm actually reading it now for the first time. I think I have 3 books left. But one of the things is there's like a pool and Dumbledore like pulls his thoughts out and puts it in the pool so he can see it again because he's like, I got too many thoughts.
That's cool.
I know. I'm like, I want that.
Right? That's your journal.
Yeah. Get that NA. Good.
Yeah. This is from Three Weavers. They are an NA brewery in Inglewood.
So local.
Yeah,
I hope they didn't use the water.
me too.
So the fourth question I had was, what do you think you would be doing if you weren't doing what you're doing?
What would I be doing if I wasn't doing what I'm doing?
I guess creatively, because you do have that.
I do have another thing I do.
Yeah.
Um,
But do you think you would be doing that if you were
no, no. I do that for money.
right? But I mean,
If I wasn't doing that,
but
and
that job also allows you to do your music stuff.
yes, like planning the show, and when you plan a show and you want to have a band, if you want to do it right, and I want to stick to my principles, the band costs money, and
Right.
yes. Um, but if I wasn't doing what I was doing, like if music wasn't my medium and sound wasn't my medium, I think I would be doing like graphic design. Yeah. I know I would have to do something creative. I would either be doing graphic design or if it wasn't something inherently creative, I would be a lawyer. 100%. I love to debate. I love to prove my point. I love to find the truth, which helps me in my other job. But
Yeah, that
I,
makes sense.
yeah, I would be probably a lawyer, and then I would be maybe like a pastor on the side. 'Cause that was the first thing I ever wanted to be was a preacher. When I was like 3, I was like, I'm gonna be a preacher.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. But yeah,
Now you preach it through music.
amen. Exactly. But yeah, I'd probably be like lawyer, creative space would be graphic design, and I would want to be like a preacher of some sort. Yeah. How about you?
Probably an accountant.
Why?
I don't know. The more I use spreadsheets, the more I like them.
They are great. They organize information
Yeah.
so efficiently.
And I think, writing out numbers is satisfying to me, which is why that part is why I journal them. Um, there's like a part of me that wishes, I knew more about plants and landscaping. So maybe like have studied horticulture or something.
I could totally see that.
But I would want to be like just the main landscaping, like a really nice resort in Hawaii.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just want to grow banana trees and pineapple plants and coffee bushes. I always, thought a barista would be cool, but I think all that just came as an older person. I think at one point I want to be like an oceanographer.
You look like an oceanographer. You look like an oceanographer.
Yeah, I don't like seafood, and I feel like you'd probably eat a lot of seafood if you
You don't like
studied.
seafood?
Uh-uh.
Like at all? You don't like salmon?
Mm-mm. I mean, I can tolerate a lot of it. Do I want to eat it? No.
Wow.
I didn't grow up. I grew up with a Texas mom cooking, so we had pot roast and potatoes.
Right.
You know,
Meat and three.
meat and meat and potatoes,
Yeah.
and the meat wasn't from the water.
Right.
Lots of beef,
Right.
beef and chicken. Um, yeah, so I just never developed a taste for it, I think. I remember eating like shrimp as a kid and or like tuna, but that's you just taste mayonnaise and pickle relish at that point.
Right. It's just a vehicle for
Yeah.
those things. The accountant, oceanographer with the greenhouse.
Yeah, I don't know. I know my grandpa studied horticulture. My dad's really good at gardening and stuff.
As are you.
Yeah, I'm okay. I mean, I turned this weed field into something,
Yeah.
but then you gotta keep up with it, and that's hard.
Yeah.
I'm really good at starting things.
You sound like a lot of creatives,
The
including myself.
the finishing
The
of things.
finishing, the maintaining.
Oh, maintaining. I've started blogs before. Just like, can I do that weekly? It's awful.
Right. Well,
So
hopefully
why
you keep
start a
doing
YouTube
this.
channel?
Right. I was like, no, hopefully you keep doing this. I've enjoyed the videos that are out.
Well, what I've liked about it so far, I mean, I don't know when this video would ever go up, but I've talked to at this point in time 4 people, I think, 4 people. And I find that I do enjoy the conversation. And I'm not a conversationalist. Like I don't go out of my way to talk.
Really?
Uh,
No, I definitely
you
don't.
should know that.
Yeah.
Um, that's why it took 2 years for us to meet,
You're
and you
right.
live next door.
You're right.
Um, I mean, even at work, I don't talk unless I have to. Um, I'm slow to create relationships with people, but like to having these conversations, it's like it's been enjoyable. And I've talked to some friends, and I'm like, I'm just getting to talk to friends, but having intentional conversations with them.
Hmm.
And I think that's what's been fun, and I mean, this is all new still, but I think as long as I can kind of keep some kind of a pace that's somewhat steady, I think I'll do this for a while
Yeah,
because it's fun.
it's fun.
And it's I was talking to someone at work today how we're getting to the point where we're going down the hill now at this point. At least me. You got a little bit before you hit the peak,
I'm
but
almost there though.
you're getting there. But so once you hit that peak, you start going down. But it's not doesn't mean you're not relevant. Your focus then can be on helping those get up the hill.
Hmm.
And so I think, having these conversations, it's then inspiring me to like, all right, I need to start helping people up the hill
Yeah,
because it's a grind, you know.
yeah,
And I don't think the younger kids fully appreciate it. So how can I help them at this point?
yeah. Well, I can say from my perspective, you've definitely helped me, it's been fun to, play on your records and record stuff and just have a friend, jam. And you even got me a few gigs, where I met some really, really, really cool people, through your job. Yeah.
Well, that's another cool thing about getting to the top of the hill. You can start helping people because you got a little more power,
Right.
And, I mean, it goes back to, the first question we were talking about, you know, building wealth. That could be a wealth of knowledge.
Hmm. Yes.
And so you can be generous with that knowledge
Yes.
or the opportunities. And, it's how, how can my position benefit others too?
Yeah.
I think, Charlie mentioned it. I don't know if he mentioned it in the interview I did with him, but, um, he's has said it several times. He's like, I always felt like I was successful when I was able to give my friends jobs.
That's it.
And it's like, yeah, like if you've made it to a point where you can then bless others, you know,
Seriously.
and help them chase their dreams too.
Exactly.
I mean, that's the beauty of it.
That's the goal.